Welcome to SourceFuse's Talking Out Cloud, our Friday Leadership Chat Series. My name is Liz Grint, Marketing Manager here at SourceFuse. For those unfamiliar with SourceFuse, we provide digital transformation solutions and services, transforming the way today's most successful enterprises modernize and migrate to the cloud, using the most advanced cloud technologies and expertise. Today, we're focusing on the subject of cloud migration and modernization. We've been proud AWS partners since 2015 and have delivered more than 600 AWS implementations. And so with that in mind, today I'm delighted to be joined by two guests from Amazon Web Services, John Noakes, EMEA Partner Development Specialist, Microsoft Workloads on AWS, and Prasad Rao, Senior Partner Solutions Architect. Welcome, John and Prasad.
Thank you, Liz. It's a pleasure to be here, and we're looking forward to talking about this very important subject today.
Thank you, Liz. Yes, nice to be here. Looking forward for this chat, and it's really important for our customers, the whole cloud migration modernization journey.
That's lovely. Thanks for that. So I'm actually going to start by asking each of you just to tell us a bit about your background and experience on this particular topic. So Prasad, I'm going to come to you first.
Yeah, so I'm a partner solution architect here at AWS, focusing on migrating and modernizing Microsoft workloads on AWS.
Okay, that's lovely. Thank you. And the same question to John.
Yes, hello, my name's John Noakes. I'm a Partner Development Specialist for Microsoft Workloads on AWS. I've been with AWS for 2.5 years, and I have a 34-year background in the tech sector, working for various large organizations, and it's a pleasure to be here and talking about this subject today.
Brilliant. Thank you both. I'm going to start with you, Prasad. For our viewers, would you be able to start by describing what it really means to migrate and modernize?
Sure. The terms migrate and modernize can have many different meanings depending on their context. But for simplicity and clarity, let us set a baseline of what these terms actually mean. Migration in simple terms means moving IT infrastructure and applications to a cloud provider without making any changes to the architecture. And we often call this as rehosting or lift and shift. And this can be the fastest way for our customers to start realizing benefits of the cloud. Now, migrating your workloads to a cloud is a great start. However, like today's organizations want to become more agile so they can innovate and respond to changes faster. And this is where modernization comes into picture. Modernization is the process of progressively transforming your applications and infrastructure to extend into higher value cloud native services like serverless and containers that unlock new business capabilities, accelerate innovation, and reduce technical debt. Now, while organizations may want to be fully cloud native applications, for customers who are new to cloud, modernizing directly to cloud native might be challenging and a longer path to travel. In that scenario, we recommend customers migrate to modernize. We have found that applications are easier to re-architect once they are already running in the cloud, partially because your organization will have developed better skill to do so, and partially because of the hard part, like migrating the application, data and traffic has already been done.
Okay, thanks, Prasad. Yeah, that's really interesting. I want to come to you next, John. So in your experience, how much do people really understand about modernizing? And what would you say is the market maturity, especially in the UK?
Yeah, thanks, Liz. Yeah, interesting questions, because when we start with the level of understanding about modernizing, particularly about modernizing Microsoft workloads on AWS, as we heard Prasad say there, the overall definition of modernization is fine, but actually we want to go a bit deeper and say, well, from an AWS perspective, our view really focuses on how to impact value through getting better at innovation. How do we increase that acceleration? How do we get that velocity moving? Because modernization, it's not an end goal. It's continuous. The job's never done, right? I can always modernize. I can always get better. I can always be economics models and operating models more efficiently, because what it's doing, it's freeing up valuable resources in any organization to focus on what matters to your customers. Don't spend all day, all week, all month doing the heavy lifting, the maintenance, the building of new applications that takes too long, and disconnected teams. We've got to make that easier. So coming back to your question about how people really understand the basis of modernization, yeah, freeing up these resources. And when we look at Microsoft-based applications, AWS, we are, whilst at the same time reducing that total cost of ownership. It's not just about saving money, but it's also about increasing efficiency. And when you look at the market maturity of this, your other point, I think at the moment with modernization, using a traditional market maturity model, we've already passed the innovator stage and we're now in early adopter stage, right? So the organizations that are taking advantage of this, they are early adopters. My prediction is that I think we'll see the early majority stage, the next stage of the market maturity model, I think we'll see that by the middle of 2023. So it's moving pretty quick, because when you look at some of the external research out there, Gartner, they've already in their cloud buyer survey said that 84% of customers have either agreed or strongly agreed that application modernization will be a high priority in the next 2 years. 84% of customers looking at this subject. And actually, when you look at the pandemic and COVID, what we actually see is that CXO modernization conversations, according to Gartner, are up by a quarter. So there are more CXOs engaging in modernization conversations since the pandemic hit by 24% than there were before. So what we're seeing is, whereas if we'd had this conversation a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, it's kind of a techie thing, the technical folks, the modernization capability in a lot of organizations. It's moving from a management level to an executive level. So we're seeing the market maturity advance really quickly, and the level of understanding about modernizing Microsoft workloads is increasing all the time.
Okay, that's really interesting, and some great statistics in there as well. So we've got a lot of early adopters and a lot of acceptance, but how can partners like SourceFuse address the sort of shift, moving people in that direction, alongside AWS? So moving people.
I think what we're looking at there is the ability for SourceFuse as a very strong and very powerful AWS partner to be able to continue to work with us to educate, guide, and give strong advice to customers to say, look, let's not try and do it all in one go. Let's identify a proof of concept, a small project, perhaps something that proves the modernization case. And because SourceFuse have got extensive experience of using AWS application and database modernization techniques, tools, and technologies, customers are in very safe hands to work with SourceFuse alongside AWS to get that train moving.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, John. So yeah, you mentioned that we've got quite a lot of experience now, especially with AWS's Windows modernization programs. We actually used it last year for a travel tech company, and we're using it right now with an ISV. So coming back to you, Prasad, what would be your advice to anyone considering modernizing Windows workloads on AWS?
Okay. So yeah, my advice to any customer who are running Windows workloads in their current estate is to be bold and take that courage. I have customers to think the long-term cost savings and business benefits of breaking free from like Microsoft licensing. And generally, as the teams in an organization like are experts in building and running Windows applications on-prem because they have been doing that for a very long time, the thought of changing that operational model is really daunting for them. But however, if the customers take that courage and modernize their Windows workloads to cloud native, they not only are escaping a world of high lock-in and punitive licensing terms, but also huge cost savings, rapid innovation, higher performance, and greater reliability. I'll give two specific examples, one for database modernization and one for application modernization. The first is Dow Jones. They modernized their on-prem SQL Server estate on Amazon Aurora and reduced their database expenses by 50%. In fact, their CTO quoted, by moving much of the operations over to AWS and completely eliminating the need to manage storage, Amazon Aurora frees up funds for innovation. And the second example I'll give on application modernization is of a customer, CoStar. They reduced their compute cost by 90% through modernizing legacy .NET applications with AWS serverless. CoStar did it in stages. Like first, they migrated their .NET framework workloads onto Amazon EC2 Windows servers. Then they modernized their applications to .NET Core using AWS serverless services like AWS Lambda and AWS Fargate. As a result of modernization, their average monthly compute cost reduced from 14K per month to 1K per month. And you can see the amount of cost savings that can be realized when you actually modernize. And their chief architect quoted, one thing that makes AWS so great is that they can introduce new features like Fargate Spot and S3 intelligent tiering. Using those with minimal efforts, we can see massive cost savings without the worry of any sunk capital costs. Now, similarly, we have multiple customers, who have taken the courage to modernize and convert their workloads to cloud native to reap the cloud benefits of agility conversion, like schema conversion tool, database migration service for your databases, and for your applications, we have app to container, reporting assistant, microservice extractor. And the final advice that I will have is that, for the customers is that, if you're new to cloud, this is daunting, we understand. So it's always better to partner with a partner who has a niche expertise in this area, like SourceFuse, who have done these multiple migration modernization projects for both databases and applications. So yeah, those will be my advice.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Prasad. Be bold and take courage. And there are two really great examples there on what can be achieved with modernization. Brilliant. And I imagine a key focus area as well for your customers would be GDPR. So does that affect their plans to migrate and modernize? And if it does, how do AWS address those concerns?
A very important question, and agree, GDPR and other compliances are key focus areas for our customers. In fact, security and compliance is always our top priority. AWS has been architected to be the most flexible and secure cloud computing environment available today. AWS supports 98 security standards and compliance certifications, more than any other offerings, including PCI DSS, HIPAA, FedRAMP, GDPR, helping satisfy compliance requirements for virtually every regulatory agency around the globe. Talking specifically about GDPR, from Q1 2018, all AWS services can be used in compliance with GDPR. So it makes it easier for our customer to build, migrate, and modernize their own GDPR compliant products, services, and solutions. AWS services gives the capability to implement your own security measures in a way you need to, enable your compliance with GDPR. For example, such as encryption of personal data and ability to restore the availability and access to personal data in a timely manner in the event of physical or technical incident. So we have an advanced set of security and compliance services and tools that are designed specifically to handle requirements of GDPR, such as Amazon Guard Duty, Amazon Macy, Amazon Inspector, and AWS config rules. Additionally, we have a published white paper navigating GDPR compliance on AWS, dedicated to this specific topic. The paper details like how to tie GDPR concepts to specific AWS services, including those relating to monitoring, data access, and key management. And furthermore, our GDPR Center webpage will give you access to the up-to-date resources you need to tackle requirements that directly support your GDPR efforts.
Okay, that's wonderful. So together, SourceFuse and AWS customers are all in safe hands.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So finally, John, coming back to you, with your more than 3 decades of experience in this industry, what does the future of migration and modernization look like to you?
Yeah, thank you. It's interesting, isn't it? Because, over all of those years, we've all seen many predictions for the future. We get excited about things and do they really happen? But I think what we're seeing here with the future of modernization in particular is I see a blended mix of database and application modernization pathways. There's no one size fits all. Every organization is different. Everybody's priorities are different. But the common denominators that we see that are absolutely prime candidates for modernization are the critical and mission critical applications that run your business, quite frankly, and the underlying database on which those applications often depend. Now, if you look at those two areas, they can both be modernized. And we heard from Prasad there some of the excellent examples of that happening already in the market. I think when we realize that the application is often closely tied to the database, they might both modernize at different rates. And that's okay. That's okay. But the advantages are common. And the other thing that really, really helps with this in the future is you don't have to be a Dow Jones or a multi-billion-dollar organization to take advantage of it. Small and medium enterprises can also take advantage, because what we see around the world is many smaller organizations have fantastic skills and capabilities in application development and DevOps and all of the fast-moving areas that drives. So when we hear about examples like Dow Jones moving from SQL Server to Aurora, it's fascinating, because not only have they reduced their technical debt on that legacy database, but they are now consuming a managed service from AWS in Amazon Aurora, which is the fastest growing service in the history of AWS. So they are taking advantage of the fact that it's taken a lot of the hard work away for them. I see that as a major advantage of the future for modernization. And when we look at the 3 core areas of modernization, places where most people will start, it's going to be serverless, it's going to be adopting containers, and it's going to be replatforming, particularly, as in the Dow Jones example, migrating away from legacy databases into cloud native, open source database services. So the future is very, very attractive, very exciting, and it's going to increase in its velocity very soon. And I think, my final comment on that will be, it's fine having all of these wonderful technologies and ability to do things, but there has to be a customer-based advantage and outcome to it all. I'm not doing this just because it's a cool thing to do. I'm doing it, I'm embracing it because it's going to help me grow my business. It's going to help me identify and sell new and existing products to new and existing customers through new and existing channels. If it doesn't do that, then I'm sorry, we don't have a business case. But what we are seeing from an AWS perspective are customers all around the world taking advantage, and they're pioneering modern applications. We have people like Coca-Cola who've cut their processing time from 36 hours to 10 seconds. It's dramatic. They're not just, taking a knife to these statistics. They're completely redefining and reinventing the area that they will deliver business advantage. we've got organizations in press and media, for example, the Washington Post, they're releasing over 50 deployments every hour. 50 deployments an hour. That's new deployments of new applications that have been modernized, that can be done in microservices capability. It's fascinating. It really is. So I'll temper my further enthusiasm just by summarizing that the future is very, very attractive. And any organization that has not A, identified this as an opportunity, B, engaged an organization to help them take advantage of it, and C, to reap the rewards and the benefits from doing it, then there's some key actions to take there. So I hope that helps you get a perspective on what the future looks like to me.
Well, it really does. And you can't miss your passion and enthusiasm coming through there. It is going to be interesting times ahead. And no matter the size of your business, from small to the Coca-Colas of the world, everyone can take advantage. So really interesting insights. I want to thank you both so much for sharing those examples and for joining me today. So I'll say goodbye to Prasad first.
Thank you, Liz, for having me. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you as well, John.
Yeah, thanks, Liz. It's a pleasure to be working with SourceFuse. And if any of you want to take advantage of the things we've said today, please don't hesitate to contact SourceFuse, who work very closely with AWS on this subject.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. All that remains is for me to say, come and join us again soon for our next Talking Out Cloud with SourceFuse.